Okay, so systems of linear inequalities is the same thing as graphing a regular inequality, but you're going to do two of them at the same time. So what you're looking for is all of the ordered pairs that when you plug in your x and your y would work in the top equation and would work in the bottom equation. So what we're looking for is the overlap of shading. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to graph y is less than or equal to 3. So we don't have an x, which means this is a straight horizontal line. We're going to be shading below because y is less than or equal to 3. And then since we have the equal to, we will have a solid line. All right, so I'm going to start there. I'm going to have a solid line. I'm going to go up where y is 3. And I'm going to draw a solid line all the way across. All right, then we're going to be shading below that line. So that's everything down here. And you want to make sure that you shade lightly because you're going to be looking for an overlap. So if you shade really dark, it might be hard for me to tell what your overlap is. All right, then we're going to do the same thing with the bottom one. Y is already solved for. I do have an x this time, so I want to go ahead and identify my slope. So since I have a 1 in front of my x, that's going to be 1 over 1. And then I have my y-intercept, which is 2. Since this y is greater than, I'm going to shade above. And since I don't have the equal to bar, it's going to be a dotted line. So I'm going to start at 2. So 1, 2. And then I'm going to go up 1 to the right 1. And you can do as many of those as you want. I got to have some on the top and the bottom. Then when you draw your line in, we want it to be dotted. And remember, make sure you go all the way across your graph. And then you're going to be shading above. Now remember what we're looking for. We're looking for where the two shades overlap. So it's a little easier to see on mine because the pink and the blue kind of make this purple color. I'm going to shade it in a little darker here. I'm just going to use my pen. So the overlap part, all right, represents all of the points I could pick. And if I plug it into the top equation, it makes a true statement. And if I plug it into the bottom equation, it makes a true statement. Where it's just pink, that will only work in this red one. Where it's just blue, it's only going to work in the blue one, which is the top one. So this right here, I'm going to make that darker. So you want to make that really dark or erase the other parts that you shaded. That is the part that matters. Okay? So if you wanted to erase this light blue part and this pink part up here, you could, and then you would have this right here. Okay, moving on to the second one. So I have not solved for y yet. I'm going to take this top equation and I'm going to solve for y. So all I need to do is subtract the 2x And remember, when you move that 2x over, you always want to put it in the front of that number that's over there. So I've got negative 2x minus 1. So my slope is negative 2 over 1, and my y-intercept is negative 1. Since y is less than, I'm going to shade below. And since I don't have the equal to, that means I'm going to have a dotted line. So we'll start at negative 1, and we're going to go down 2 to the right 1. Down 2 to the right 1. Remember, you only need 2, but if you wanted a couple more. Or the opposite of that would be up 2 and left. Then you're going to have a dotted line. And you're going to shade below the line. So it'll be all of this right here. And remember, don't shade too dark because you're going to be looking for the part where you overlap your two shades. Okay. Now let's do the other one. So 2x plus y is greater than 3. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 2x. So y is greater than. Don't forget you're going to put that number with the x in front of the 3. So you got a negative 2x, but the 3 is positive. And now you're going to identify the information you need. So your slope is negative 2 over 1, and your y-intercept is 3. Since y is greater than, you're going to shade above. And since you don't have an equal to bar, you'll have a dotted line. So now you've got all your info. Let's start at 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to go down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. Do as many as you need. I don't know if you guys have noticed this or not, but these two lines are parallel. All right, so we've got another dotted line. And remember, make sure you extend all the way across your graph. And then you're going to be shading above. So if you're looking for where they overlap, this one doesn't overlap. So there are no points that when you plug into the top inequality will make a true statement and the bottom inequality. So the pink ones will still work in the top, and the blue points will still work in the bottom, but there are no points that will work in both of them because they don't have an overlap. Okay? And the last one. Okay, so the first one, your y is already solved for, so we don't have anything to do except identify the parts we need. So your slope is negative 1 over 1, and your y-intercept is 4. Y is greater than, so you're going to shade above. And you're equal to, so you have a solid line. So we're going to start at 4. And we're going to go down 1, right 1. Or up 1, left 1. All right, then when you get your line, you're going to pick a dotted one and make sure you go all the way across your graph. Oops, it's not dotted, it's solid. I lied. Solid line. Much better. And you will shade above that line. And remember, lightly shade. You want to make sure that I can really tell which part is your double overlap. I want to make sure that you know that. All right, for the second equation, you're going to have to solve for y. So I subtract the x. And 0 minus x is just negative x. All right, so your slope is negative 1 over 1. Y-intercept is 0. And we are going to shade below. Since there's an equal to bar, that means that you will have a solid line. All right, so we're going to start at 0. We'll go down one, right one, down one, right one. So get your line drawn in. Solid line. And you're shading below. So again, we have two parallel lines, but because they're shaded in opposite directions, we don't have a solution. There are no points that will work in both inequalities. Whoa. Got random lines just jumping everywhere. So technically, if you thought about it, if this one shaded below and this one shaded above, then you would have the middle part. Okay?